Valentine's Day. That one day of the year where everyone decides it's appropriate to share their appreciation for loved ones, even though you should do that every day. So hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So Valentine's Day, the time of the year where everyone gets everyone flowers and roses and chocolates and I hate it. Instead of giving you cute, adorable Valentine's Day ideas for your significant other, I'm going to be talking about all the dates I've been on in my life. Spoiler alert, there's not many. As a person who really doesn't like Valentine's Day, and the only time I've ever liked it is when you're in elementary school and everyone in the class gets you Valentine's Day cards because they're obligated to. Now, I personally have never been on a Valentine's Day date, but in the spirit of Valentine's, I will be sharing a couple good and bad dates that I've had. Now, like I mentioned, I haven't gone on many dates, and they've all been pretty lackluster, except for one. But we're gonna start at the very beginning.
I could stay like this.
This one was when I was in my sophomore year of high school, and it was my first ever boyfriend. Oh my god. We went on a date to the movies, like your typical classical date. And I remember I met his mom. Parents to me scare the shit out of me. I don't know what it is. Like, I'm good at meeting parents. Like, I'm respectful and well-mannered, but for some reason just meeting parents in general scares me. This was the first time I was meeting someone's parent that I was interested in. Although that went over smoothly and we went to the movie. I got dropped off by my mom and we saw As You See It. I think that's what it's called. It's the magician movie. And like the overall movie was great and like hanging out was nice. And I think we even went to the arcade in the casino after that, if I remember correctly. It was just a really cute, simple, like wholesome high school date. It was fun. I get home and my mom's like, "Did he pay for you?"
No, I paid for myself.
But the guy's always supposed to pay for you.
Mom, it's 2013. Get with the times.
Now onto my dates outside of high school.
I could stay like this.
There's one guy in particular, I can't even say I ever went on a date with him because all I ever did was go to his house and just hang there, and that was it. The only thing I can classify as possibly a date is when we walked to the Palms Casino and got McDonald's and then walked back. So I don't even know if I can realistically classify that as a date. Another date, I guess you could say, we went to the park because his AC was broken, and so I met up with him and we hung out at the park, and then we went back to his place and hung out and watched movies. So I also don't think I can consider that a date.
I could stay like this.
Now, with my last ex, we actually did go on several dates. It's really hard to pinpoint like what I could classify as a date because we did go out a lot before we officially started dating. But the first ever date, I guess you could say, we went on was we went to an escape room, which I had never been at the time, and it was honestly super fun. We really sucked at it and it took us the entire hour to get through one room, but it was incredibly fun, and I've gone on to do many escape rooms since then. And then we went on an adorable date to this, I want to say, Mongolian restaurant, and it was kind of like a buffet style where like you pick all the toppings and sauces you want and then they make the noodles for you, and it was really nice. It was chill. I remember I dressed up for that. I didn't know what I was expecting as far as the atmosphere of the place. Like, I actually had decent conversations. And then one of the last dates I went on with him before we eventually broke up was we went to Yard House near the Link. Now, if you don't know what the Link is like a casino, but it also has this promenade area, and that's also where the high roller is, the Ferris wheel in Vegas. And we went to Yard House. I had been to Yard House before multiple times, and it's like a little bit too pricey and too kind of elegant for my taste. Like, you're talking to a chick who finds Olive Garden fancy, so. But yeah, and I just remember having really good conversations with him over dinner, and it was really nice. We talked about a lot of different things, and I remember we were even talking about sports because they had, I want to say, football on at the time that we were eating. And I don't know, it was just a really nice night. And then it had to get fucking ruined because my heartburn decided to attack me. And I swear I thought I was about to have a stroke. I had finished eating and I started getting bad chest pains, and I was like, okay, it's just my heartburn acting up. And then those chest pains turned into back pains, and the back pain turned into an arm pain. And so I just had 3 different areas of my body in like excruciating pain. I told him about it and he's like, okay, once we get the check, we'll leave and everything. And I'm like, thank God. And I remember like it had kind of settled down. I still had really bad chest pains and kind of a bad back pain. And at this point my stomach had started hurting really badly. So we left, and for some reason he had the bright idea to walk around the promenade, but I had already told him I was in excruciating pain, and I'm like, I don't want to walk around. Like, I literally want to go home and curl up in a ball and die because I am in so much pain. And I remember getting into his car and I started getting this nauseous feeling too. That eventually passed. By the time he got me home, all the pain had subsided, but I still had a really bad stomach pain for some reason. So finally, after like 2 hours, that went away. It really sucked that it was such a good date and it got like really ruined by my excruciating acid reflux. And we obviously went on more dates than just those ones, but those are the more memorable ones to me, the ones that stand out more in my head. On to the very terrible one.
I could stay like this.
Now this one's gonna be interesting. I don't really even like talking about this because to me it was just a mistake, a regret. My friend had hooked me up with a dude who played guitar in her boyfriend's band. And I have a thing for guitarists. I dig guitarists. But a thing I'm not attracted to is white guys with blonde hair. No tea, no shade. I just don't find them attractive. And so she sets me up with this dude who is white and has blonde hair. And I'm like, to other people he was probably attractive, but to me personally, I just could not find him attractive. And that's not to say he was ugly or anything, he just was not my personal preference. I like exchanged numbers with this dude and we're talking for a good couple weeks, and like I actually thoroughly enjoyed the conversations we had. He was actually pretty smart and didn't talk about mundane things. He actually talked about like philosophy and books and music, and it was just really interesting because they were actually intriguing and I actually enjoyed messaging him back and forth. So the date finally rolls around and it was a double date with my friend who had hooked me up and her boyfriend and me and the guy. Now, I wasn't too weary about the idea of the date because I was like, oh, we're just gonna see a movie. Like, I'll go on this date, give this dude a solid chance. If I'm not feeling it, I'm calling it off. We get to the movie theater and we're waiting in line. And my friend and her boyfriend are kind of known to do a lot of PDA stuff. And I am not a big PDA person whatsoever. Like, the only thing I can realistically do is hold your hand in public and maybe like kiss you, and that's it. I personally get very uncomfortable regardless of who I'm with. So the dude hated the way that my friend showed a lot of PDA. So to like get back at them for making us feel awkward, he would also initiate PDA. And it made me really uncomfortable. He would put his arm around my shoulder. He would try to kiss me multiple times or try to make out with me. He constantly wanted to help hold my hand, which not all of those would necessarily be a bad thing, but I just wasn't feeling this at all. And I just did not feel comfortable showing these levels of PDA with this person I had only been talking to for a couple weeks. So I'm already immensely uncomfortable with this guy. And we finally get to the movie, and it was him, me, my friend, and then her boyfriend. And the movie was excruciating long, and I hated it. I actually did not like Batman v Superman. Sorry, DC fans. And it was really excruciating to get through. The entire time the guy was trying to hold my hand. I like holding hands with people, but I don't want to constantly hold your hand. Like, to preference this, you know, like couples at like concerts who you'll have the guy in the back and the girl in the front, and the guy will have his like arms draped around them and they'll be like swaying to the music or whatever. I hated that because I want to like freely move around and do what I want to do. And this was one of those scenarios. I just wanted to have my hands completely to myself. I'm just getting flashbacks, and so the movie finally finishes. Mind you, that movie was 2 hours, so at this point I just had a raging headache and I just wanted to go home at this point. We're all walking back to my friend's car. All of a sudden the guy stops my friend's boyfriend as soon as we get to the car and is like, "Oh, can I talk to you for a second?" So me and my friend get in the car and we're just waiting for them, and they're just talking and talking and talking at the back part of the car, and I'm like, oh my god, I just want to go home. Like, I hadn't eaten much that day. We got popcorn and a slushie, but that was it, and I just had an excruciating headache and I wanted to go home. So after 10 minutes of them conversating, I started throwing plushies at the car window because for some reason my friends had an abundance of plushies, so I was just continuously throwing them at the window to try and get their attention so they could come in so I could go home. And it didn't fucking work. And now that the plushies didn't work, I started pounding on the window to try and get their attention to hurry the fuck up. They get the memo, but they're still talking. And I'm complaining the entire time to my friend, like, I just want to go home. Can they hurry the fuck up? I think even my friend at this point was getting impatient because she was also tired. And finally, after what felt like 20-25 minutes, they finally get back into the car. As soon as this guy gets in the back of the car where I was, he like leans in for a kiss, and I'm like, no. I am not in the mood, for one, and two, what fucking took you so long? And he like wouldn't tell me what the conversation was about. I really did not care. I just wanted to fucking know why the hell I was forced to sit in this car for an extra 20 minutes when I could have been home relaxing and winding down from this terrible ass date. So they finally dropped me off, and as soon as we get to my house, like, this guy is persuading me constantly to open my car door and walk me to my front door, and I'm like, no, like, I don't care anymore. Like, I just want to go inside by myself, walk up to my house by myself. And like, it took me like 20 times of me saying, no, let me just get out myself, no, for him to be like, okay. So I think he like gives me a hug and then like tries to kiss me on the cheek, and I'm just like, whatever. I book it out of that car so fast, go inside, and I'm like, thank fucking God I'm home. Lesson learned on my part: to never try to date someone you are never attracted to. If you're not feeling it, you're not feeling it. Don't force shit. I'm like actually cringing at how I'm retelling the story because I haven't retold this story in like at least a good 2 years. By the way, I did tell the dude right after that I wasn't interested and I wasn't going to date him, and he didn't take it very well. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed me rehashing my date experiences and me living through the trauma of that one terrible ass date. I hope you guys have a wonderful Valentine's Day, and if you don't give a shit about Valentine's Day like I do, I hope you guys have an awesome Thursday then. Bye guys.
The smoke lingers after fire.